legal tampering day.
Yeah, as opposed to all the other tampering days.
Well, it's kind of stupid. The NBA does this too, where they say that. So the new league year starts Wednesday.
That's when any of these deals can be signed. So again, none of these deals are written in stone. Nothing is contractually. No one is contractually obligated to any of these things. So,
Right.
but they're reported deals, and there's an S ton of them.
Well, you remember the NBA used to have the scenario too, where it started at midnight, and so GMs and execs would like show up at dudes' houses at 12:01 when they were allowed to have contact, and they'd send cars and gifts, and it got all crazy. And now we have this.
Yeah, because they had so much tampering before the league year began, when deals could be signed. They put in this stupid 2-day legal tampering window.
Yeah.
But now all they've done is just push the tampering back to the weekend before the 2-day tampering window.
So we're expected to believe that every one of these deals was negotiated today.
Right. It's really stupid. There's really no way to, like, I don't know how you would ever, would be the word, eliminate.
You can't.
Tampering.
Unless you really
And why do you even need to?
Because, I mean, the idea is that there has to be some form of structure. You can't just have the season end and then be like, everyone go. But unless you put in real punitive measures and started taking away draft picks, and then how do you prove it? It's just...
And how do you police it? I mean, that's a headache.
It's really, really hard.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is you can't really police it. It happens all the time.
Every now and then someone gets caught tampering, and they do get slaps on the wrist. But, largely is... And I think that's the idea is... Every league now basically says, don't make it egregious.
Yeah.
Don't be blatant about it. And as long as you do that, it's like getting caught with weed now. It's like, just don't be dumb with it, and you can kind of do what you want. So,
yeah, you just need to. It's like, it's one of those things where you need to have it on the rule books.
Yeah.
But we all know the game.
Yes. Yes.
So it's kind of stupid.
And with the exception now of probably Daniel Hunter, the edge rusher out of Minnesota, like the top 20 guys are now spoken for. I mean, there's still some quality. I always say that I think day 2 and day 3 of free agency, to me, is where the better deals come in. I think that's where you fill out your rosters. I think it's hard to get deals in day 1. Remember, I say this every year, most of the time, people that win free agency don't win jack crap in the regular season. There's a reason why these guys are available on the open market. Very rarely do you have someone that's in their prime that's going to sign a friendly deal is available. So, I mean, you can get some value, but like Chris Jones, right? Chris Jones is a free agent, but Chris Jones ended up going back to Kansas City because most of the time really good players don't get let go. I guess an example of someone that I think is in their prime, it's a lot of money, but like Christian Wilkins, like Miami wanted to keep him. They just couldn't afford to. So there are some people like that, and he's a hell of a D lineman, Miami, and now he's going to be in Vegas, but he was a hell of a lineman when he was making what he was making. Now he's making $110 million over 4 years. You better pony up. Like as a player, like Eric Armstead was making 28 or 29 this year. Hell of a player. Guy's been everything you could want. Team captain, and yet San Francisco had to look at him, and he's been chipped up the last couple of years, even though he's been productive. And they said, we need you to take a pay cut. He said no. And it's like, all right, well, bye. Now is someone else going to pay him 28, 29 million? Because it's the going rate for a player of his caliber. But when you're putting together a roster, it's hard to pay guys at that age that have some injury history. It's hard to pay those guys.
Our AAA heating and cooling poll question today: best free agent deal: Russell Wilson to the Steelers, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, Kirk Cousins to the Falcons, or Josh Jacobs to the Packers. Right now, 38% saying Russ Wilson. That's interesting. Well, that's just because of the money.
It's the money.
1.2 mil.
I mean, like
26% say Saquon, 22% Kirkers, and then 14% say Josh Jacobs.
If you're now the Packers, I love it because they gave Josh Jacobs basically it's 1 year at 15 mil, and then after that they're not committed to anything, and they're so cheap across the board. Anyways, I mean the Packers are made up of people that don't make any money, so they can easily absorb the 1 year at 15, and then if he doesn't work out, thanks for coming, bye. But they gave Jacobs the exact same deal, 4 years, 41, that they gave Aaron Jones 4 years ago. With all the salaries going up, they got him for the exact same price. And by the way, they cut Aaron Jones today, and so he'll be somewhere else. Like that even though that's a good chunk of money, it's not breaking the bank. There's no long commitment to it. You're not paying him 15 a year every year like the Eagles are doing with Barkley. And you can afford it because you're super cheap everywhere else. Like that to me is a smart move. But throwing a bunch of money at names usually doesn't work out in free agency. In fact, most of the time when you take the top, we did this one year. If you go back and take the top 5 or 6, even like the top 10, I don't remember exactly which one we did, but we took every year. This was like 4 years ago we did this. Went back and took the top handful of signings every year, and most of them were gone, being restructured, or just flat out cut 2 years into their new deals.
We have a Steelers fan weighing in, and I'm sure that this person speaks for a lot of Steelers fans today.
Yeah.
Vancouver Ford text line. 503-864-6326. The only saving grace for Arthur Smith and Russ is the bar they are asked to clear. The bars, Matt Canada and Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And that's true. He said, for such a storied franchise, they just have no clue what the hell they're doing or how they think they can compete. They're easily the 4th best team in their own division, even with their new quarterback. Yeah, the Steelers thing, I mean, look, I don't think this is a bad deal.
I don't either.
With Russ because of how little you're having to pay him. Like, and it's only a 1-year deal. Like, I would try that too.
Absolutely.
And I think they're better with Russ than they are Kenny Pickett.
Oh, 100%.
Now, does that mean that they're exponentially better? No.
Did you see what happened to their odds on the signing?
Nothing
Nothing
They're
changed.
exactly
Did not
the
move.
same.
Yeah, exactly. Odds of winning the Super Bowl, right?
Exactly
they're in
the
the
same
same window. But how often do you get a quarterback who's won a Super Bowl for $1.2 million?
Yeah.
You have to do that deal.
Yes.
I think, and I think Pittsburgh's the type of team that Wilson fits, because Wilson wanted a little more stability, and they're not terrible, right? It's one thing if Wilson went to Carolina or something, crappy like that. Pittsburgh's a good little franchise.
And Arthur Smith,
it's a fit.
Yes, and you go back and you do a deeper dive into it. Russ, his best years have been when he plays with a good defense and a run game and play action pass. Just flat out. If you look at his numbers in Denver, even the disastrous year the year before, on play action passes, Russ is a top 10, 12 quarterback on play action. And when he doesn't have play action, it goes down a little bit, right? And when Denver had their success last year, what were they asking Russ to do? Throw the ball 20, 25 times a game, not screw it up, run the ball, protect it. And Russ did that. He was not terrible.
Orange, let's ride.
So when you look at what Arthur Smith wants to do you know who runs more play action than pretty much anyone not named Shanahan in the NFL?
Big Art.
Arthur Smith. So I think it's a good marriage there. And Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin always wants to run the ball. He always wants to play a physical style. I could see them adding another back, although they've got a couple of them. But, there are some free agent backs that you can get on cheap deals. And I think if Pittsburgh, if you run the ball and you play stout defense and you ask Russ to put it up 25 times a game, this may end up being a nice deal for Pittsburgh. Now, I know some people would say then you just hit the reset, because that's your option. If you're Pittsburgh, you got one or two options. You just flush the whole damn thing, and you start gutting the roster, and you say we're going to be bad for 2 years, and maybe that costs you Mike Tomlin. Maybe he doesn't want to be around for it, but you just gut the thing, and you say we're going to go young, and we're drafting quarterbacks, and you just accept it for what it is. Or you try to hit the reset button while maintaining a competitive balance. And if you do that, there's not a better option probably than Russell Wilson. Well, maybe Cousins would have been the better option if you believed in him coming off the injury.
But not at the price.
Not at the price. Cousins is $50 million a year, and Russ is 1.9. Sorry, this was a good day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Will it lead to anything great? That we don't know. But it's beyond low risk, high reward.
Well, they remember too, they tried to reset with Pickett and still have been good. Like they haven't had a losing season since God, I'm looking here.
They're middle of the road every year.
They have not had a losing season.
Tomlin's never had one.
Yeah, I'm going all the way back here. Okay, there it is. 6-10 in 2003. Bill Cowher, 6-10, 2003. That's the last time they had a losing season.
That's when I graduated high school.
I mean, they were 10-7 this last year, 9-8 the year before, 9-7-1 the year before that, 12-4. That was at the end of Roethlisberger. 8-8, 9-6, 13-3, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5. I mean, they're just. It's interesting. They have reset at the quarterback position, but done it without a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
Are they the Blazers? I mean, the Blazers are doing that now, but it feels like they were like above average playoff team, not over the hump.
But they
team.
won Super Bowls, man. I mean,
oh no, I know that.
Come on.
I think this is and people may not love it, and I understand that it's not the sexiest thing in the world. And Russ 2 years ago was garbage, and we had the dressing down with Sean Payton last year, but he wasn't terrible last year. He wasn't. And for what Pittsburgh had, I think he threw 20. I'd have to look it up. I want to say he threw like 26 touchdowns to 8 picks last year. And if you look at Pittsburgh's numbers, that's the best season since they've had Ben Roethlisberger. So, like I said, I'm fairly bullish, and I don't love Russ. Obviously, what's gone on in Denver, but this is a good day. This is a good day. And again, career. This is Russ's career with play action. 77.6% completion rate, 108 passer rating, 112 touchdowns, 28 picks, and almost 9 yards an attempt. And he's going to a team that is going to run more play action than anyone else, and he's not going to be asked to throw the ball 35 times a year. And he got in better shape. He wasn't such a, I'm not going to call him fat, but he got in better shape last year. And he knows that this is his last opportunity. Like if you're ever going to get a motivated and non-douchey Russell Wilson, I think all that Broncos ride crap.
Broncos orange, let's ride.
No, I think if anyone has any sense at all, someone has gotten in his ear and like, you knock that corny crap off.
Mr. Unlimited.
Shut up. It's not going to play well in Pittsburgh. It's a blue collar town.
Hey,
just
Seattle.
Shut up and do your job. Work hard. I think you're going to get the best of Russell Wilson. I'm cautiously optimistic on this one.
I agree. I'm with you on that.
Meanwhile, Cousins is getting $50 million a year for the next 2 years.
Let's talk about him next. Could Atlanta have had Lamar Jackson for kind of the same price?
Possible.